To Kenya now. Kenyan police were forced to use tear gas to disperse demonstrators, shouting, "President, stop the killings," outside of President Uhuru Kenyatta's office on Tuesday, November the 25th. The crowd also laid crosses and 4 coffins outside of the building during the protest, dubbed #Occupy Haram Behave, a reference to the president's address.
As armed police stood nearby, protesters chanted, "Lenku must go, Kimayo must go," demanding that the president removes Interior Minister Joseph Ole Lenku, who is in charge of security, and Inspector General of Police David Kimayo.
The national security organs of this nation, their work is to promote and guarantee all Kenyans security. But whatever we are witnessing right now in this nation is the opposite. They are guaranteeing us of insecurity. You cannot walk in the streets of Nairobi or in the corners of this country without fearing for your life. Insecurity has become key.
Kenyatta was out of Kenya, East Africa's largest economy, at the time of the protest, attended by about 200 people. Deputy President William Ruto said on Sunday, November 23, that security forces had killed more than 100 militants after the ambush of a Nairobi-bound bus on Saturday, and reassured Kenyans that the government would pursue the militants. Somalia's Al-Qaeda-linked militants Al-Shabaab claimed responsibility for the attack, where government ordered passengers on a bus to recite Quran verses and shot dead non-Muslims, 19 men and 9 women who could not. Kenya sent troops to Somalia as part of an African Union peacekeeping force in 2011, while Al-Shabaab, which was behind the bloody 2013 attack on Nairobi's Westgate shopping mall, has vowed to drive the Kenyan and other African soldiers out. Richard Tuta, the security analyst in Nairobi, said the constant foray of the militants into Kenya showed that despite the military campaigns by African Union peacekeeping troops to liberate the war-torn country, the efforts have not degraded the rebels' capacity to wage asymmetric warfare.
It is very hard to fight asymmetric warfare with a weak intelligence system, because here you are fighting a war which the end justifies the means. And it is a war without rules of engagement, unlike where a state fights another state or an army fights another state, whereby the issue of international law comes in. So that's why you will find that it is very difficult, and especially for countries in Africa, which has got very weak security system in terms of intelligence, in terms of technologies to fight terrorism.
Insecurity plagues East Africa's biggest economy, and attacks in the past year on the coast and in the capital have prompted Western nations to issue travel warnings, hitting the tourism industry, which is an important source of income for Kenya.
There is the direct damage which has been done, and that is the loss of life. And the other damage is the economy, because if you look currently at our economy is performing poorly. Nobody is willing to invest where he has a fear of the future for his businesses. So already there is that damage. And the other thing is that now there is a tendency that Kenyans are feeling under siege by terror. People are not moving around with their usual businesses for fear of an attack.
Al-Shabaab said Saturday's killings were in retaliation for raids on mosques in the port city of Mombasa, where police said they were trying to flush out youths they said were being recruited to carry out attacks in Kenya.
Let's bring you more upbeat news now. In a couple of days, it will be exactly 1 year since the passing of anti-apartheid hero Nelson Mandela. In light of that, engineers have put together the latest in a series of giant art installations in South Africa's seaside tourist destination, Cape Town. The 30-meter tall structure, made of aluminium trusses, is meant to form part of a new landscape that would be seen by residents on the ground and from the air by visitors flying to the town. Known for its scenic beauty, perfect summers and culture, Cape Town also holds important historic sites in the country like Robben Island, where former President Nelson Mandela spent a large part of his 27 years in jail during the struggle to overturn white minority rule.
The Sun Star project overlooks Robben Island and is also a showcase project for the Cape Town World Design Capital 2014, which will see 460 designs transform the city this year. The installation comes ahead of events to mark the first anniversary of Nelson Mandela's death on December 5th, and it is hoped that it will attract tourists going up Signon Hill to get a better view of Robben Island.
Yes, there is an element of this which is intrinsically linked to Nelson Mandela, but not just him. It's intrinsically linked to South Africa's past in the old Robben Island prison fencing, which itself was rescued, which is an interesting story by itself. But the intrinsic link to South Africa is the past, and maybe that has a nice metaphor in the rusty fencing, the dark shadows of our past. But when you put a light on it, how it just glitters, and then for me that stands for the liberation of South Africa, the birth of the Rainbow Nation.
Swift says he decided to incorporate parts of the original Robben Island's prison fence in his work, in his commemorative piece, using it to create a sphere held in the 8-pointed sun star, which depicts the sun's rays. Hotel group Sun International sponsored the project.
If you take the bleak days of apartheid in South Africa, a lot of South Africans, and in particular those who were imprisoned and incarcerated on Robben Island, never lost hope in a future, in believing in a future, which is why the expression looking beyond the fence is entirely appropriate for this particular project.
One light sensor!
Special solar LED lighting will illuminate the monument at night to allow it to be seen round the clock. Sun Star was unveiled on Wednesday, November 19, in a ceremony led by Cape Town Mayor Patricia de Lee. Swift hopes his work will evoke memories of the political prisoners who sacrificed their lives in the struggle for freedom against apartheid and spent many years on the island.
I think when people look at it, they will definitely think of Mandela. I think it's a symbol of what he did for us. It's a symbol of his sacrifice for us, and we all love Mandela dearly, so every time we look at it, we will fondly remember him.
We can remember ex-President Nelson Mandela and the suffering he went through just to have this fence put there in the Sun Monument, and really just to see this standing out as a beacon for our city is wonderful.
Organizers say the sculpture will be a visual reminder of not only how far South Africans have come, but also encourage them to remain united and build a better future. Earlier in the month, artists put up a giant set of stainless steel spectacles dubbed Perceiving Freedom, which also look out towards Robben Island and pays tribute to the anti-apartheid icon.
Now here's something you don't see every day. Earlier in the week, a Tunisian woman was crowned Miss World Muslima 2014 in a unique pageant judged on religious knowledge rather than just looks. In the ancient Hindu temple of Prambanan, Yogyakarta in Indonesia, 18 finalists clad in colorful embroidered traditional Muslim costumes walk the stage to show their beauty and answer questions to show off their knowledge of Islam. Contestants need to show their oratory skills in reciting the Quran, as well as engage in conversations around Islam. Popularity was also factored in the competition, including online voting by the audience.
Welcome to the grand final of the 4th Annual World Muslima Awards 2014.
After several grueling rounds of elimination, Tunisia's Fatma Ben Groufeshe was voted the 4th Miss World Muslima. Groufeshe said the event is an opportunity to fight stereotypes cast on women in the Muslim world.
This competition has improved Muslims are woman power, that we promote the image of a Muslim woman, that we are not oppressed women, we are free, we are good person.
She won a trip to perform an Umrah in the holy city of Mecca, Saudi Arabia, a gold watch, a gold dinar coin, and a trip to South Africa. The competition aims to create awareness and empower Muslim women, as well as allow them to be role models to a younger generation.
The finalists are not chosen just merely for their beauty, but more on the Muslimah criteria, especially on Salehah, smart and stylish. I think this is great.
The contest stretched out for nearly 5 months before the final round on Friday, as contestants from around the world were chosen through online auditions and voting. The finalists arrived in Indonesia in early November to take part in a month-long training and social work. This is the 4th time Indonesia, the world's most populous Muslim country, hosted the competition, and the 2nd time foreign competitors took part. More than half of this year's finalists were foreigners, including British national Dina Tokia.
I joined the competition because I was curious and I wanted to leave the competition with an increase in my faith, and also just to let the Muslim girls in the UK know that there are other people like them, I guess, and there is something for them.
Last year, the contest was seen as a moderate alternative to the Miss World 2013 pageant, which was also hosted in Indonesia, but amid wide controversy and protest.
Now, just before we call today, not one and not two, but well over 30,000 people thronged Addis Ababa to participate in the Great Ethiopian Run, which is the biggest event in the East African nation's athletic calendar. Now in its 14th year, the race drew ordinary Ethiopians, elite runners and foreigners to take part in various categories. Many said the run had a tough course, which included very steep climbs and also tough roads around the city.
The annual run is one of many mass participation races in the country organized by the Great Ethiopian Run Event Management Company to raise money to support various charities. In the end, it was Asmura Bekele who emerged winner of the men's 10 kilometers race, recording a time of 30 minutes 11.1 seconds. It was a repeat victory for the athlete who won the 2010 race. The race is sponsored by various corporates and organized by a team led by a group of elite athletes, including former Ethiopian Olympian Haile Gebrselassie. Many aspiring runners use the race as a platform to pursue professional athletic careers.
As you know, the Great Ethiopian Run is a tough competition. It's not easy. They always run very fast. If you look at the winner, both that matters, they were very strong. Women, Woodday, she's strong, and the second one, too strong. And after they won this one, when they go to Europe, they can win just any race.
Participants were entertained with loud music as they ran and were awarded with medals at the end of the race. Organizers are already working on next year's events, which will include the 2015 MDG race in January and the 2015 Women Force 5-kilometer run in March.
Well, that's where we leave it on this episode of Network Africa. Many thanks for watching. I'm Cynthia Are. As always, I'd love to hear from you, so feel free to send me an SMS via the number on your screen.
A time comes in the life of every race when people are driven by echoes of the past to chart a course for an exalted future. Africa is at this threshold as major actors in the Africa arena plot a renaissance towards common destiny. Let's pedal across the streams of yesterday, from the backstreets of Africa to the defining roles of policymakers, the political realities of the African nation, balance of power, and the strong